Get ready to crush it. Crush it.
Yeah.
This is the Crush It Podcast with Matt and Mason.
All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the Crush It Podcast. I am Matt Davis, along with my co-host.
Hey, Mason Burchett here with you.
That is him. And so I know that's kind of odd. It's kind of cool, Mason. This is the first episode we've recorded in a little bit that we've not had a guest to introduce.
This is cool.
So this is probably where
Paul
everybody...
was a half guest.
Half guest. True. But it's kind of cool that that we've been able to keep some people lined up, keep it fresh, keep it exciting.
That's right.
This is probably where most people are now just clicking out and waiting till next episode.
Right, they're like, oh, there's nobody on the...
It's just
Matt Mason.
so,
Let's back out. Yeah, we intentionally scheduled a break.
Yeah.
Because we knew you guys missed us, and we missed you. And
we were hoping that was the case.
We wanted to have some quality time with you guys again.
Aww.
So we intentionally scheduled a little break between guests. So it could just be us, the original gang.
Yes.
One more time.
So, with that being the case, I'm really excited about this. Probably not going to be a long episode.
It's going to be a quick
Maybe. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But when we were talking about what we wanted to talk about, if that makes sense.
Okay,
yeah.
I got it.
I threw up an idea that you kind of pushed against.
I did.
Because you felt like it was a little bit conceited. Right, but who cares? Because
we're conceited, and here we are.
Here we are. And so, I don't know what just happened in my throat there. But anyway.
Wow.
So, Mason has a brand new book that you folks have probably seen. I'm going to kind of look over at the camera here.
There we go.
How to make sure you never get promoted.
That's right, yep.
Which, can we be honest, goes against everything that we talk about here on the Crush It Podcast. Yes. So, it's not satire.
It's antithetical.
It's antithetical. If you look at that word there, I actually had to look that up. It was really funny because when I ordered my copy, which I did order, I did not expect a free copy because you support each other. I ordered my copy. It showed up, and anything that shows up from Amazon, my kids freak out because they think that
it's a present.
Their mama has ordered something again, so they rip it open. And my little girl, who is 10, Ivana, was like, "This makes no sense." She literally, I haven't told you that. She goes, "Why wouldn't you want to get promoted?" Like, "Dad, what's up? I know who you are."
Nice.
And so, but it's a really good book. So what I want to do first is we're going to kind of skim over this book for this episode and kind of talk about the mindset behind it, what you were thinking. What were you thinking?
What were you thinking, Mason?
But on a serious note, before we kind of jump in, I'm going to kind of flip through it while you're talking here as I listen to you, but because I have read the book word for word.
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
I sat down and I read it. And that's the thing, guys. Like, I know it can look a little bit big. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
taking stabs at me.
But the thing is, like, it is larger writing.
It's large print. It's large print.
And I'll be honest, I probably spent 10, maybe tops 15 minutes.
It's meant to be a quick read.
And I read this entire book. Yeah. So don't be threatened by it just because it's more than a pamphlet. It is a really good read. But real quick, Mason, let's talk, and I know we want to get through this pretty quick. Yeah. But let's talk about what was the mindset, what prompted you to write this book?
Yeah, so on the outset, it is, it looks maybe minor, thick. It's not a long book at all. It is large print, though, and it was meant to be that way because I intentionally wanted this book to have zero fluff, right? I wanted this to have not a ton of extra content that wasn't applicable.
Right.
This is super focused content, right? Yeah. And like you said, it's antithetical, which is a fancy word for satire.
Right.
I'm telling you what not to do so you know what to do.
Yep.
And the content isn't necessarily antithetical, just the chapter headings. So, like, for example, the first chapter heading is to work for a company with no growth plan. And then through that whole chapter, I tell you the importance of aligning with a company that has a growth plan. So this book is really focused at the 17-year-old version of me.
Right.
That did the things that I did.
Yeah.
A lot of the things I did were by mistake. A lot of them were on purpose. The more things
this is a book about how to be more like Mason.
The more things the things I did, the more things I did by mistake, the more things I did on purpose. Right. And now looking back, I can see the things I did and how they worked, and I kind of put those down on paper. So it's intentionally no fluff.
Right. So let's jump into that a little bit. Now, I'm going to be honest. Working for a company with no growth plan, I'll be honest, I was very encouraged by that chapter.
Sure.
And I don't want to give away everything because they need to buy the book,
right,
and they need to read it.
Yes.
But let's skip over step one. Okay. Because here's the thing. One thing I realized that a lot of people, they've got some years invested in a company, and so they need to look into some things with that chapter. But let's just jump to number 2.
Okay.
Your chapter number 2, step 2. You said be a few minutes late.
Yep.
How big a deal is that?
It's huge. And it's bigger than most people think. A lot of people think, I'm just 2 or 3 minutes late, no big deal. I'm almost on time.
Traffic.
Look, early is on time is late, guys. And I learned this both being a general laborer, and then transitioning into middle management. When I was in middle management and I had people show up just a few minutes late, I realized how big a deal that was.
Right.
Especially being in the building materials industry where contractors and installers are up at the crack of dawn and they're lining up outside the door.
And they're ready to roll.
Ready to get their stuff. 2 or 3 minutes late puts a huge amount of pressure on the rest of the team and on management.
Right.
And so I titled that second chapter, Be a Few Minutes Late, because if you're consistently a few minutes late in your career, in your position, chances are your manager's taking note.
Absolutely.
And they're going to realize you don't have the discipline to get up a few minutes earlier to be on time.
Yeah, and I can speak that. I know you can speak that from experience in management. I can as well. And, this book is full of original content, what you wrote. But you threw in that chapter, you threw in a quote by Zig Ziglar, which I would say most people, if they're listening to this podcast, know who the Zig is.
They know the Zig.
But a quote by him: "Ability is important in our quest for success. Dependability is critical."
Right.
And I can speak to that from experience. In a one call closed setting like I manage in.
Sure.
I can say that when we're putting these leads and these opportunities out, I've been given the opportunity where I have one sales rep who actually has a higher closing rate and does better as far as closing goes, where I have actually put them lower on the priority list than somebody who could still close, maybe not at as high a rate.
Sure.
But I could depend on them to show up at that appointment at the time that the customer had set up. And the person who closed higher, they got kind of bumped down because I could not depend on them.
And it's
a really big deal.
It is a big deal because it's, number one, it's fair. And number two, it allows you to plan.
Right.
And this is what a lot of, which is the premise of the book. Get it and read it. It's a shameless plug for myself. But this is the premise behind the book, is thinking of the way that you would like to manage an employee. Be the employee you want to be. Be the employee you would like to manage, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because you know this, Matt, in management, you're more inclined, like you just said, to give the person an opportunity that you know is dependable.
Right.
Because that matters for strategic purposes. You
Absolutely.
can't plan around. It doesn't matter how good a closer somebody is if they're only there 2 days a week.
Yeah.
If you can't plan around them, it's impossible to strategize around them, right?
Yep.
So as far as long-term strategy goals and goal setting goes, if you're a dependable employee, if you're a dependable part of the team, you're an instrumental part of the strategy, and that's a huge step in the long-term success game.
For sure. So jumping on, and we're not even going to hit all of these steps if that's okay with you.
Yeah, somebody's got to read the
leave
book.
Something. But let's talk about step 3. You said dress for success.
Yeah.
Real quick, do a quick version of debunking the statement, because this is what you always hear. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Yeah.
There's some flaws in that.
There is. And
Talk about
that's one of the opening quotes in the chapter is what you just said, and I say that's a stupid statement.
It is.
Because it is. My first job was on a warehouse job. The job I wanted was an executive position. I'm not going to show up to my warehouse job in a 3-piece suit.
Well, and I'll just say, I had read that quote, and the first time I showed up at work in my Batman suit, I got some really strange.
But it paid off. Right, it paid off. Now you're king of Gotham.
Right.
So,
I mean,
no, but
don't use me as an example.
Exactly. The premise of the chapter, though, is to just be professional.
Right.
And like I said, this is a zero fluff book, and it's practical enough for people to go, that might work.
That simply makes sense.
Because when I was in the warehouse, I realized the next step, I wasn't going to go from roll former operator to director of marketing and development. Like, there were spaces in between I had to
there's
fill.
steps.
And so while I wanted to get to Z, I had to fill B first.
Right.
And Z may have a suit and a tie, but B does not. B is a polo that's tucked in with tan jeans that don't have holes in them. My shirt doesn't have holes in them. I'm clean cut. I'm wearing my PPE. I'm complying by the policies that have been set in place.
Right.
That's dressing for success in that position, right?
Yeah.
I was in a warehouse job. Everybody else was wearing graphic tees. Nothing necessarily wrong with that, but they got Nike, the big Nike swoosh. Their t-shirts untucked. They got some holes in the bottom of it,
which is
their jeans have got
perfectly
holes in the
suitable
knees.
to the job they had.
It's technically suitable to the job they had, but here I am with a polo, right? It's not a Ralph Lauren, right? It's just it's an average polo. It's got a collar on it, decent shirt. It's tucked in. I've got some tan jeans on. I've got a belt. I've got some decent boots on. I look put together.
Yeah.
I show up. I look put together. I don't look like that I just crawled out of the sewer somewhere.
Yeah. And here's what's interesting about that. I just had this thought as you were explaining that. Coming from, I am not currently in the roofing industry, but that's the industry that a large majority of my background
Still
is.
in building materials.
Yeah.
Right.
But as a roofing contractor, if I show up to pick up metal materials as a contractor, and I walk into the warehouse, I know the setup of Best Buy Metals, and I walk in, I'll be honest, if I have a question, an important question, and I'm looking for somebody in charge, you may have been the new hire, but because of the way you were dressed, my eyes are going to go to you. And I'm going to come ask that question. It's showing a level of professionalism.
That's exactly right.
That isn't present.
And here's why. There's an immediate association with the way that you're dressed. Because like you always say, perception's reality.
Yep.
And I put that quote in bold print in the book. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Perception is reality. And if you are perceived as put together, I mean, a consumer's going to assume that their order is put together.
Yes.
If you look like you're a slob that just
fantastic.
crawled out of the bed, what confidence do they have in their finished product?
They're going to go double check their order to
Of
make sure
course
they've
they
got
are.
their screws, their
If this
pipe
guy
boots,
doesn't know how
their
to dress
caulking.
himself properly, how does he know how to put
How's he
my
gonna
order
put my
together
order together?
properly?
Yeah.
And so that's why that whole chapter, dress like a slob.
Yeah.
Right. Dress like a slob if you want to never get promoted. If you take the steps to not dress for the job you want, but to dress for the job you've got the right way, that's a crucial step in getting promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, step 4, be replaceable. Step 5, ask for a raise.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about those
Yeah.
because they need to come read those.
They did.
And then last, you've got this about the author stuff. I would skip that section.
Definitely
it's extremely
skip about the
boring.
authors, yeah.
But guys, we just wanted to go over, and I appreciate you letting us do this.
Of course.
Because I thoroughly enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I told you Friday morning when we had our sales meeting at our office, I had this book laying on the conference table.
Right.
Because I wanted, they picked it up, and several of the reps were flipping through it. Oh, this is cool, you know. And I'm like, hey, you need to read this. Because here's the thing. If you're not looking to get promoted, I don't want you working under me. I want you to replace me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to hire people who want to replace me when I replace the guy that I'm under.
Exactly.
And so there should always be that chain where you should be moving up. So with that being said, we're going to, I say this, you will put the link, right?
I will. So for easy reference, this is available on Amazon. We partnered with them on the release of this book. It's also available on crushitteam.com.
Yep.
And if you actually go to crushitteam.com, you can get the book for a discount right now. And you can,
I did not know that.
that's correct.
Look
You
at
can get the book for a discount.
Do
and
it
you can
there.
also get, and for those of you who like to e-read, I'm not a huge e-reader. I like a tangible copy. But if you do want to e-read, you can get this book for $5.99 right now.
You also need to do audiobook because that's what I do.
We're working on it.
We're working on that. Sorry,
we'll have audiobook soon.
We had a quick business meeting during the episode.
Maybe by the time this is released, we'll have
an audiobook. But go check out how to make sure you never get promoted.
CrushItTeam.com. CrushItTeam.com. The ebook's on there.
Check us out, guys. Not long this week, but just wanted to kind of go over that, show some of the value. Because that's the thing, guys. We just want to provide value to you. So with that being said, if you have any questions, any topics, any guests, we'll do our best. We've actually been encouraged by people reaching out to us.
Or a question for a previous guest. We've had a few of those.
Yeah, anything like that. We're here for you guys. We love what we do, but we do it for y'all. And so reach out to us. Let us know what you're looking for.
Yep. So don't forget to check out CrushItTeam.com. We have a lot of new merch on there. We got some hoodies. We got some shirts. We got the book. We've got a few other things. All of our podcasts on there, our videos on there. Come hang out with us, guys, at CrushItTeam.com. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.